What is up, team? Welcome back to the Huddle, the number one podcast in flooring. We're here every week to help you gain forward progress in your career. Simply put, we're here to help you guys win. For all our new viewers, welcome to the team. What's up, Mr. Jose?
What's going on, brother?
How are you, bro?
Another day in the life of Jose. Coming at you from the
Awesome.
homestead today.
Yeah, tis the season for sickness. The whole Stewart clan, as well as many people here at my office, have went down with COVID or some version of such.
I'm
So
special though. I'm special, just like Ashlyn. We got the what did she call it? She called it uh, fluvid pneumonia.
fluid pneumonia, yeah. um, Sorry, I got a little note there. So anyway, today's topic is creating a culture of guidance, National Mentoring Month. So that's our topic for the day. The topic is brought to you by and sponsored by Divergent Adhesives. If you got a tough flooring project that has tight time schedules, tough site conditions, look no further than Divergent Adhesives. Go see our man Sonny over there, the Mr. Divergent himself at Divergent Adhesives. You'll be glad you did. Let me say that their adhesives are phenomenal, and it's a great company with a great owner. So yeah, go give Divergent Adhesives some love. Another one of our sponsors, Live Switch. If you haven't checked out Live Switch, go check them out. They are, see if I can get them up on the screen here. They are a weekly sponsor of ours, and just click on the QR code. Go check it out. I mean, I've said a lot about Live Switch as a piece of technology
This easy,
that
guys.
we use and and have started using. Um, in building technology myself with trade tap and and the VTI and all of that, I can tell you Live Switch is a nice addition to your tech stack. So go check them out. Live Switch, just scan the QR code there on the screen. And as always, trade tap and the VTI. Um, as you guys know, start of the year, the new ecosystem comes out, and you'll be able to get your profile on the index with your score, your level of where you're at on the index, all for free for life. So there's zero reason for every installer not to have it. Manufacturers and distributors are getting behind it to kind of endorse and require for some of their products. So I would encourage you to get started early, get started now, and start looking into the VTI right after the first of the year here. We are after the first of the year, but we're officially launching at Tice. So if you haven't made plans to get to Vegas, come join us. Come check it out. It's a great time. Tice is a great event, and we love just getting to know some of the audience members and getting to see friends that we only get to see a couple times a year at different shows and events. So we are looking forward to that. Daniel has just joined us. Check him out.
Yo, made it.
Burley.
So yeah, if you don't have plans for Vegas yet, get them made, man. Come check out the Huddle Live. We're gonna be going live with the Wi-Fi, their Power Hour on that Monday, and so next that week of the 26th, I believe it is a week we'll be kind of switching some things up from a timing standpoint to be able to be able to host the Wi-Fi team and their esteemed panelists during their yearly um, Wi-Fi Power Hour. I think is that yearly or is that more often than that? Do you know, Daniel, offhand?
No idea.
it, anyway, we
I know
we
it's yearly at times, so like I know it's there. I do know that they participate in a lot more than what we're
they do a lot more
doing.
than just that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a great event. We've been as a huddle team and checking it out in the past, and Crystal's been there. I think she spoke one year. if I remember right. So yeah, come check it out, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. Again, today's topic is creating culture of guidance, National Mentoring Month. And I said at the beginning of this when I was talking to Jose off screen, it sounds like a topic your brother has. And he goes, I think it was his. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about your stance on that, Daniel. I'll just bring you right in here.
I just think that it's kind of important. I think when, um, like, we were at Ties a few years ago, and when Crystal was actually talking with Shannon about her being her mentor and stuff like that, Shannon kind of pulled me to the side and she was like, how do I feel about it? And I was like, I mean, you guys do what you need to do. She was like, okay, I just didn't want to step on your toes. And I said, why would you be doing that? And she was like, because you've been her mentor. And I said, I think that was the first time I ever even thought of that, because you can be a mentor, right, just by talking to people and being yourself. It's not like a title that you have. It's just something that you do.
Yeah, there does seem to be like the unofficial mentor where you just
Hmm.
always have that person you go to. And then you can make it a little more formal, where you straight up, ask somebody to mentor you. And I think both of them are awesome. I personally paid people to be my mentor, hired coaches, and I I've mentored many guys in this business as well as just in other aspects of life. And you know, I love doing that as well. It feels a lot like paying a favor back to some friends of mine that have been mentors to me over the years, and you know, gave me so much value and so much guidance that I just want to kind of pay it forward. But also, you just kind of end up being someone's mentor, um, not by some formal agreement.
Or you could just be born a big brother and not even think about it. Just
Yeah,
let me just do a bunch of dumb stuff, so that way I can teach you what not to do. Um,
and
but
call it
then,
mentorship.
yeah, and then watch you do it anyway, and then laugh and point the whole time.
Yeah, so it's
Uh,
National Mentoring Month. Is that is there any, how like these different days for a month they have like special things they ask you to do? I haven't looked into it enough. Do you
I
know
don't
if
I don't think there's like anything special, but I did when one time we were going over topics and I was like, man, this is mentoring month and it's kind of been something that, I mean, we've dabbled into. We've had Shannon and Crystal on talking about it, right? And it's like, do we ever really like focus an entire episode on it? And I was like, no, so why don't we just sit down and talk about it? And I actually tried to get someone on this week, but she went on maternity leave like 3 weeks ago and she was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it.
Always
yeah.
have an excuse. Jeez.
So let's kick it off by asking the audience and you guys a few questions. What is to you, what is the difference between like just a friend and actual mentorship? Like what is the difference?
I'll start with that one. So if I think about who I've leaned on, there a friend is typically a mentor on accident, right? There's no gain out of it. There's no label. There's just there's just questions and answers, regardless if you want to hear them or not, regardless if they're right or if they're wrong. Just straight conversation, and it leaves you in a position to formulate your own opinion, your own path. Like to me, that's a friendship, a mentorship type deal. Um, some of the people who were actual mentors on accident, I guess, were like the path that they were, the picture that they were painting was a path with a lot less lumps. Those were a lot deeper conversations, um, a lot harder times, right? Where the questions were harder to ask. The questions were more personal than they were broad, and those are the ones that you can tell that they put thought into the answer. I appreciate all aspects of it, but to me, the friendship mentor is some. They're going to answer you truthful, regardless if it's their truth or your truth, and you got to
I
run with
think
it.
those ones, it's everyone's truth, and you just have to just that's what it is, man. A mentor is not there to sugarcoat anything, right? That's what you're there for. You're there to tell it like it is. If you don't like what I'm saying, change what you're doing.
Yeah, I found that you've got friends that you confide in or friends that you can talk to or what have you. I found like in those cases where I'm the friend that's being talked to, uh, you're just in both cases, I think you want the best for the person, because you're friends. But mentorship doesn't always mean that you're friends starting out. Often it grows into a friendship, but sometimes it's just a mentorship, and that person, uh, in those cases where it's true mentorship, the two things that I appreciate the most is directness, like you said, Daniel, just directness, just being honest with me, for my own benefit, and the time that they spend with you, it's almost like they have a fiduciary duty to you, not a true money duty, but they got a duty for what they tell you to be able to be applicable to your life. And that's where I've found the biggest difference in friendships. They'll just kind of tell you their case for it, almost regardless, like their ideas, without be really dissecting your situation and knowing if it's the best advice for your particular scenario. A mentor's job is to make sure that the advice is sound and the guidance is sound for your specific situation. So friends are awesome, but they have a national mentoring month for a reason, and that is because mentors are really important. I think that if you're struggling with a part in or something in your life, don't be scared to go spend some money on yourself and hire a coach or reach out to someone you respect in the particular field you're looking for, um, and ask questions. And sometimes people really would prefer you just to come out and say, hey, would you be interested in mentoring me? And then that kind of identifies that relationship a little clearer, and so both people know how to kind of treat one another. When you pay someone, it's without a doubt, like, I have expectations. I'm paying you a dollar figure to mentor me or to coach me. I've got some expectations and some milestones I'm trying to hit, and I want you to help me hit those. you know Friends are rooting for you, but mentorship is meant to really kind of guide you there.
But then, I want to go back to the friendship one too. Like when you're younger and you're leaning on people who are a little bit older, be cautious as who do you ask these questions, because sometimes these friendship mentors are really in it for themselves, and some of the information and advice given might be beneficial for them long term versus you.
Mm.
Um, so,
Do expand. I'm curious
um,
what, without calling anybody out, there sounds like there's
oh
a
no,
story behind this.
no, it's all good. It's when you're growing up and you're trying to find your place in the pecking order, you're trying to find where you belong in your group that you've called your home. Um, there are certain people in the group that never have your best interest at heart, right? They don't. They are trying to maintain a certain level um, in that pecking order, and in order for them to maintain that, it might be through manipulation. So that's where the just be cautious of who you ask, right? Who you ask these questions and who you open up to. Um, and that's more on the friendship level. And I'm older now, right? I'm 44 years old now. Back when I was younger, I thought friends were there, family was there for life, through for the rest of it. people weed themselves out for a reason, or you leave a group for a reason. Just know that everything that you ask is also you learning, but it's also them learning about you. So be cautious.
Yeah, I think uh, a good kind of North Star, if you are looking for a mentor, um, make sure that you're asking somebody that either has what you want, does what you want to do, or has performed in some manner uh, the feat or the the hurdles, the pitfalls, whatever you're going through. So when I started building Go Carrera, which is now TradeTap, um, a lot of that. I'm a flooring guy. I'm a carpet and sheet vinyl installer that decided to go build a technology software, uh, and it it did not come by myself. I had to really lean on other people for advice and talking to people who I respected. But it's funny how when you're talking to just anybody, they'll just freely give you the advice. I would caution that if they haven't done it and they have this great idea, but they have not done something, the same thing you're wanting to do. Like you don't go ask a sprinter how to run a marathon or how to pole vault. Like, go ask the pole vaulter how to pole vault, right? Um, you really need to have somebody who's done it, and then you gotta the reason not everybody's a mentor, not everybody's suited to do that. Like suited to be able to give sound advice. They know what their journey was, but being able to articulate that into something that's useful to someone else can be tough sometimes. So always was told, don't take advice from people who haven't done what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
and if they have and they're willing to mentor you, value that at such a high level, like family value that, because that person, if you're, especially if it's not a paid coach, which is kind of a difference between a coach and a mentor. Um, most mentors are giving you their time, and that's their most important and valuable resource, and they're giving it to you freely. So honor it and value it like family time, because they're giving up their family time likely to spend it with you or some version of that. So just remember, if somebody does choose to mentor you and you ask them, honor it with a high level, with the relevance that it really deserves.
Yeah, let them know you value their time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of that is just in what you do, not what you say you're gonna do, right? It's the actions, it's listening and then being like, you know what, I am gonna go over here and start doing what we talked about. Because why ask if you're not gonna do anything about it?
Yeah, I don't think you could. There's a better way to reward a mentor than to go do a piece of their advice and it work out for you. Um, Puts a big smile on my face when I see people succeed from a little bit of advice that we may give them at some point, and it's that's their reward. So share your wins too. Share your wins with your mentor. Let them know that if they're doing a good job, let them know. One thing about being a mentor, I can tell you, if you've been approached and you're maybe a little bit skeptical or um, adverse for some reason to doing it, a lot of people they don't think of themselves as like mentors, but they'll be asked. And that person sees something in you. Um, what I found really valuable that I did not used to do, but I have found valuable and maybe somewhat of a surprise to the people who watch this podcast is I listen a lot. Not I try not to talk and just hear them out, really understanding their problem is part of being a good mentor because there's oftentimes that their proposed problem is not the core issue of their problem. You got to listen, ask questions, and listen and ask questions. And a lot of times you'll get to a core issue that is causing all these other issues in their life or in their job or in their profession, whatever it is.
It's funny you say that. I've had conversations with people where you just listen and ask, and then they have the aha moment themselves. They go, oh, well,
Yeah.
let's come back to that one.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. But sometimes you can just be a sounding board. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people, you know, like just a good friend that's not going to judge, and that's what you get with a mentor most times. That doesn't mean they're not going to call you out, by the way. A good mentor will call you out for not doing the things they suggested or, not delivering on your promises or whatever, but they won't judge you like judgy of your personality or something. They're just judging you on your action and on your commitment to them and to taking the advice that they gave you.
And
Yeah.
that's like
And
Daniel said too, being respectful of their time. They want to see you taking steps that you guys are discussing, right? They're not telling you what to do. You're discussing it. They want to see that.
right.
And I
And
think,
if you don't know anyone that um, can be your mentor, this is a great resource right here that we were actually put onto this from the local chamber, and they were like, "Hey, do you?" We talked about it. I mean, this was probably a couple years ago now, right? But they're like, "Do you have a mentor?" And I said, and I was like, "I mean, not really. I've never really asked anyone, or never, no one's really ever asked me. But I mean, I ask Paul for advice. I'll call and ask, Don Perkins for advice or Ken Ballin and all these people, right? And it's kind of like that in the industry anyways, not necessarily with titles or anything, but if you are looking for like a business mentor, someone that's been through it, and this is actually a great resource, and you can go here and I believe it's no cost.
Hmm.
um yes, and when he was over here, I mean, we had a few meetings, and then I think it was by the end of the third one, he was just like, I think you guys are just into too far already for me to even help you. So he just was like, I think this is where we have to part ways. And I mean, if you want someone else, you can definitely reach out and they'll get you hooked up with someone else. But I don't think I'm that person for you. And that's huge too, as a mentor, to say I'm not that person.
Mm-hmm. Know your strengths and weaknesses kind of thing.
yeah, I think we had a lot going on at the time, and that was in some cases chaotic for some people, right? Even though we found balance somehow, some way, it's just when there's too much going on, there was a lot of static noise to somebody else.
Paul knows there's no balance in entrepreneurship.
No, no, constantly off balance, as we talked about just the last podcast.
Yeah, I actually did get that book on Audible and started listening to it too.
Off balance on purpose,
It
or
was
the
that, yeah,
was it the other?
nope, it was that one. Whatever. I don't
Yeah.
even. I have to actually open it up to see what the title of it is.
Oh, yawning. Sorry, guys.
Positive Chaos.
Yeah.
Dan Thurman.
Yeah. I think that off balance on purpose or
Mm-hmm.
something like that was the
The
title of the
same.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but you never do find balance, and that's why having someone to bounce things off of, mentor guys, like, and this is probably a good time to like point out the difference between training and mentoring. Like training someone on a skill versus mentoring is like, this is the difference, is this is how you do it, and a mentor will be like, this is why you do it, not only how but why, and they'll explain the why first. And there's some trainers out there that train almost like a mentor, um, and that's pretty special. But the big difference is and one of the problems I think we've had in the flooring industry is back in the day, I remember being with guys that they were like, we don't want to train our replacement, that kind of a attitude. Well, now look where we're at. But at the end of the day, the fact is, training someone is like teaching them how to do something, but a lot of times getting someone emotionally invested into the why of you doing it, even if it is a skill, that's kind of the key differentiator between a mentor and a trainer, so
right?
to
And
speak.
Nate says that the sad side effect of the installer shortage is that there's also a mentor shortage. So treat them like gold.
Hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot of guys that'll give you their time, um, that at least who've given me some time in this industry that I've found a ton of value in. You guys, um, you know, people like everybody from Scott Humphreys to like Dave Garden.
Yeah, that I was gonna say, like,
Like,
Dave Garden, I know when he calls me, it's gonna be, like, at least a half-hour conversation. With Rollin, I need to block out probably an hour and a half or so.
yeah, but these are friends that you are kind of friend mentors, I personally got to know them through flooring, so I always kind of think of them flooring first. But many of them are my friends, but if you got something you need figured out, some of these guys are the best guys in the business to call. And but if you're trying to figure out, we've done a mental health episodes before in the past, and there's a bit of mentorship that you end up kind of like a therapist. And um, because not all the problems that someone has in business is directly rooted in the business. Sometimes it's something personal or spiritual that's kind of dragging them down, causing them to have these problems in their business or in their career.
And I
So,
think that's why it's looking at just personal growth, right? If you focus on personal growth, you're more apt to start helping someone else out. So, you know, listening, you talked about finding or showing them your why, right? And then I just go back to Simon Sinek and listening to his books, and then bringing that into the office here, and then telling the guys, like, a lot of what Simon says is
Simon says,
like, yeah, I didn't even realize that. But it's
I
what
did.
you
I was
said,
trying to
right?
hold
It's
back.
it's underlying issues. It's someone has a bad attitude that day, and instead of being like, get your crap together and this is what we got to do, it's what's going on, man. Like, sometimes they just need that person to ask them what is going on with you. I know
mm-hmm,
it's not about work, so what's up? I mean, we had a conversation with an employee a few weeks ago, and it's like, we call them into the office, and it's just like, what's going on, man? Like, work aside, like, just, this is open space. That's sometimes, and I know for a lot of people, like, it's hard to open up, but sometimes the only way you're going to do it is someone asks.
It turned into a 4-hour conversation after you left, and I wasn't leaving the
yeah,
conversation.
that's part of it is opening the door for someone, you know, to walk through, letting them know it's okay to talk. And hey, that's what's really kind of special about really good mentors is they know when to be tough on you, like you said earlier. Hey, get your shit together, you know,
But
and
it's also
know
knowing
when.
when to back off and be like, oh,
Mhm,
whoa, what's up? Like,
yeah.
you're not you right now. So let's talk
Hmm.
about whatever we need to, and not this. I came here to yell at you, but we're gonna focus on something else today.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're an employer, you're going to be all this. That's the truth.
100%.
You're going to be a therapist. You're going to be a life coach. You're going to be a mentor. You're going to be the butthole boss
Mediator.
sometimes. Like there's there's no And not to scare anybody who's out there watching that may want to start a business and you're an employee now. But truth is um, there's not a lot of like leeway there. You have to grow into that. You have to lead your team. You got to be able to listen and give advice, know when to be a little harder, know when to be a little softer, and be willing to do both of those. So, being a business owner is a lot like being a mentor to a bunch of different people and deciphering what you have to do to help them succeed. Ultimately, helping them succeed helps you succeed. And having that foundation of we used to say, and we still do, but doors always open. Like come and have a chat. If you're struggling, come have a chat. And that's kind of all the way through our leadership that they feel that way. And I think that gives people lets them know that they have the right to come and talk to you about more than just, hey man, the hours on my check wasn't right last week or something. Um, and a lot of people could use that. You don't know always until you dig and you're willing to learn about someone's life. And um, there's a lot of responsibility in that, as you guys know, as business owners. There's a lot of responsibility in that to your team.
And sometimes it's hard to turn off the business and turn on the empathy. Sometimes you have to find that perfect balance.
Man, when you
And
work with your kids, I know because both of my
oh,
children work for me in two different businesses. I'll tell you what, knowing when to turn it off is tough. Like my daughter and I had a conversation, you know, about like our interactions are becoming nothing more than business. Like even when we're on family time, and something you got to be cognizant of. And thank goodness to her, she brought it to my attention. But um, yeah, it's easy to fall into that mode if you work with friends. Same thing. Before you know it, if you're not careful, you quit building the friendship and you're just building the talk about work. you know?
that's why you got to get some tamales and talk crap about one another. Brings
Yeah.
it right back. Brings it right back.
Yeah. Well, and not all, I points out makes the point that not all relationships are meant to be mentorship and mentor mentee, you know. Some are just best being friendships and left at that.
Yep, 100% agree with that one. And then, you said that about you and your kids, and starts making me think about, my son's 13 years old, and I intentionally have a divide. Like he's always trying to. He's got a very entrepreneur spirit. He wants to learn about everything. I'm going to teach him whatever he asks, but I also have to make time for to be dad coach, dad. Let's cuddle. Let's watch a movie. Let's do this. Right. Try to create that separation. Um, and being intentional on that is very hard sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because you forget about still just your kid, still wants
Yeah,
just a hug.
that's what it is. Sometimes you forget how young they are, right?
Even if they're not young, you just forget that your kids need you. You know, they need the dad, they need the mom, and yeah, that's just a bit of advice if you hire your children is remember you're also dad. You know, and you can compartmentalize those things, but then, man, I tell you what, it just creeps up on you, and before you know it, you haven't had a personal conversation with your child in a month, but you've talked everything business up one side and down the other.
I
Um, it's interesting.
it's important too to let people fail sometimes, right? Because I look at it in terms of just yesterday. Um, so my son, prior to him committing to bowling, I told him, I was like, listen, dude, like you've got a lot of stuff going on already. You've got baseball, you've got a personal trainer now. He has French horn lessons, and I said, you're going to be really busy. And then every Monday he asked me, do I have personal training today? And then he's trying to figure out what day he can use instead of Monday. And he already told him that he wasn't going to do it yesterday. And then he's like, well, what day can I do it? And I said, there's a reason why you do it on Mondays. It's because you have all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You guys just something we didn't talk about is you are your children's first mentor, right? You're helping them find a
Pretty
path and
true.
get on track. That's the practice that you need, and that's what you take away into the world. Is I guess my mom was my first mentor too. So
She still is a mentor to us sometimes. Like, I mean, she's more the biggest cheerleader than anything right now, but
Well, amen to parents, good parents who raise their kids and think about this kind of thing. You know, consider that stuff. So we got mentorship on personal, items. You got mentorship on business. There are like different differentiation between those two if you want as well. Just as a note, I've had a life coach and a business coach at the same time before. And
what's the difference?
one is really, business coaches in general get really technical. They're really about the what to do to help scale your business or grow your business or grow your influence or whatever it is you're trying to do. And life coach is more trying to deal with all of your life, like the difference between a secretary and a personal executive assistant kind of thing. One is just kind of there for this time, for this, you know, I don't know, during business hours kind of activities. And my executive assistant, if I need a airplane ride on a Sunday night, she's gonna have to hook it up, you know.
Okay,
And so it's like it's just a little bit different in that way. And different stuff you're going through. I mean, you may not want to tell a business coach some of the personal things you're struggling with, or relationship problems, or any of that stuff. And life coach may not have a fart's chance in the wind of giving you good advice on your business because they don't know your business. Um, and they may not be a business person themselves. They just so it's just different flavor, different strokes for different folks, kind of thing. But evaluating what you are trying to get out of a relationship with someone will help you pick the right mentor. You know, if I was picking a mentor for a skill, I know who to pick. If I was going for a sheet vinyl skill, for example, I would certainly pick one of you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, show me how to do X, Y, and Z. But if I'm trying to figure out, how to balance, you guys are bad examples as not being good mentors here because it's like not kids and all that, but not all of them do. So, it's just picking the right one. And also, uh, another little note, if you're interested about mentorship, finding someone who really jives with you, you know, uh, I found naturally mentors that I've had are also like bootstrap kind of people. One of my best mentors, still a friend of mine to this day that I've had as a mentor and a friend for many, many years. Um, go fishing with him and all that kind of stuff still. Really great guy. But, our relationship, uh, just kind of grew, and it's just one of those guys that's your kind of people. Well, I found out when he started his trucking company, it was just him in a 10-foot box truck with his business partner, and they grew it to a massive company and sold it. But he was just a bootstrapper driving their first truck together and making local deliveries, and they turned it into a big business later. Um, so he was a bootstrap guy. He's had a similar background as mine, and so it's easier to follow those kind of guys. That's what I have found for myself anyway.
He was a don't talk about it, be about it guy.
Yeah, go do it. Go get her
Yeah.
done. And there's a lot of pitfalls he had. We had a lot of similarities. We both had, employee ethics issues where embezzlement happened. Uh, so we just have been through a lot of similar stuff. But I didn't even know all that when I first, confided in him, or he would give me business advice. It just felt right. Um, what that turns into is the bottom line is like finding someone you jive with that just feels right. You'll find out you probably have a similar background.
So don't force the relationship and let it blossom. You'll know. I get it.
Well, and just it's not always about picking. I haven't been to that site. I did scan the QR code though because I'm always interested in that kind of thing. But um, I've been on coaching sites, and you might think like, oh, I got to get the the most expensive guy, or you may look at the cheaper guy and think that's not, how can he be that cheap? Because there's these sites where you can hire a business coach, obviously, or a mentor. And don't be scared to like interview if you go through that path where you're going through a paid site of some sort.
I always made a joke growing up that um, if you wanted to learn what not to do and how not to fall into addiction, just go ask a crackhead. And I used to make it as a joke, but like as I got older, people who had those types of addictions and stuff like that, they would answer you honestly, like, what happened? Well, this what happened, and I didn't want to deal with it. I gave up. This is what I started doing. They would answer you honestly, and as bad as it sounds, in fact, go ask a crackhead. Like that's not like a topic or an episode that we should do or anything like that. But that's legit, right? That was just a joking way for me to say, as someone who is in the middle of it or has been through it, and
Yeah, that's what he was talking about earlier. Like, if you're going to take advice from someone, they should have some body of proof.
yeah,
One of the types of books that I'm always skeptical of, not to say they don't write good books, but are businessmen who are authors. Like that is their business, and they've
Right.
never ran another business. They're very wealthy, very successful from writing books, but that to me is like that circular thing like an MLM or something. Like, well, you get rich by writing books. How'd you get rich? Because I wrote books. Like
and I sold them.
yeah, it's not the advice in those can be not as applicable to real life sometimes. So Jeremy's mentioning in the comments something to do with essentially that a good mentor or teacher is understanding that not everyone learns essentially the same way, and that taking time, slowing down, and making sure that they understand what they're doing and what to look for, and that the old school way is definitely not always the best way to teach someone. And I would say there's truth to that with some nuance. I mean, at the end of the day, um, the person being taught has to be teachable. And a mentorship is more of the person being taught going to the mentor as opposed to the mentor searching you out, which is the difference in training, right? You're going to train somebody whether they ask you to or you ask them to or not, because like it's your job to train them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, and that they don't have as much obligation to you to be a mentor They have more obligation just to teach you the how. But I do agree with you. Like the best coaches and mentors are the ones who find a way, find that personal thing with that person and can teach them the way they learn the best. But at the same time, you can't like take any flooring training. You can't parcel it out into 10 different ways of teaching the same thing just because people don't learn the same. You also have to be adaptable as the mentee, that you're trying the things and you're trying to adapt to your mentor as well. So it's a two-way street. It's a
Yeah.
real relationship.
Even when I'm doing the classes and stuff, what ends up happening is that person that needs a little bit more of show me so I can watch like very
Mm,
closely, and they know that, you thankfully so far they've known that, all right, this is a class, he's gonna keep on progressing, and then they'll come to me after I'm like, all right, get to it. Then they'll come up to me and be like, hey, can you come over here and just show me this, because I really didn't understand it. I'm more of a, I need to be able to be right there and watch you. And then, I mean, there we also have those people that are like, I want you to watch me do it, and it's like, there's limits to these things, guys. I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be tough to teach a class to get through the curriculum if you're talking about trying to almost uh, uh, customize each person's experience. And that's why you, as the student or mentee in this regard, that you think about, you also have to adapt to the person teaching you. Got to be coachable.
yeah, got to be coachable, 100%. Sometimes that's the hardest part is understanding when someone is doing their best to try to connect with you on your level, but if you don't allow it, it's just going to be, water and oil. You just get not going to be able to have that mixture 100% until you guys are both equaled out. Um,
Yeah, you got to try to find that common ground, I think. Um, but again, I'm just not to take a all the burden on the mentee, but the you I've had experience where it's like, well, that's not how I learn. And I'm like, well, that's not how I teach either. So maybe we
Bam.
just have a disconnect. And if it's that different, then they need to find someone else, and you don't need to waste your time as the mentor, and you don't need to waste their time. Because if you have a specific teaching style and they have a specific learning style, and those two don't match, and they're too far apart to come to any common ground, that can be tough. It
Yeah,
can
and I
be tough
think
to have a valuable relationship. So that's why I say make sure you jive with them.
we had a conversation somewhat in the other day at work, and it was with everyone. Is like I'm not one of those individuals where I don't need a pat on my back, right? But some people do, right?
Hmm.
Am I gonna? Does that mean that I don't appreciate it from time to time? No, but it's not. I don't need it to move on to the next step. I don't need it to keep doing my day in and my day out. But some people do, and because I don't need it, it's definitely harder for me to recognize when people do need it, right? And sometimes when people do need it, they might not need it all the time either. But there are those instances where noticing them and recognizing them for their efforts is huge, and that is a
It's realizing that you need to do that is one of the bigger things, right? Like, because you don't need it doesn't mean that they don't need it, and then you have to look into yourself and be like, let me kind of get out of my comfort zone too, and try and be that person.
I always feel like Hancock. Good
Good
job. Good,
job.
good
Right.
job. Good job.
Nate says that he had a guy with a learning disability, zero retention. He had to retrain him every task every day.
10-second Tom.
10 seconds.
He said
You
it
know
took him a
what?
couple months to figure that out.
I wonder if So the gentleman there, or the person he's speaking of, did did it ever resonate? Did it ever sit? And
Ever
if so,
finally sink in?
yeah, and if so, what was the guiding light? What was his Nate's aha moment on this is how to connect with him? Was it time? Was it a certain way of interacting?
Yeah,
I,
did
I,
you change your methods or did it just finally sink in?
that's
But I
a
do, I
I'll let
do,
you know
I
if
do,
he answers.
yeah, I do want to point out that what you said just a minute ago, Jose, that I have the same problem. Like recognizing when someone needs that like good job. I was just raised where you did the job because you're getting paid to. Like that's you just go work because
man. I'm gonna
Yeah,
that's why you get a paycheck.
Nate said
look.
And
he never figured it out.
Full
that's
disclosure, Paul, is I used to tell people this flat out. I used to say, if you're expecting me to give you a pat on the back for a job that's expected of you because that's your title, then you're dead wrong. I used to be that asshole that said that out loud. Like, you want me to thank you for doing your job.
So when I was like
But
well,
I
that
don't,
was
probably when
also
I was still in high school, they used to say, when you come on my jobs, you better leave your feelings at the door because they're gonna get hurt.
yep.
well,
Sorry,
and
sorry, D. My bad.
that's
That was
just
my
how
line too.
that's
That was my
how
line.
that's how you lived a lot. I mean, I think as we were. It's easy to sit here and say we were just tougher. The truth is that we didn't have a way like my bosses back in the day. It was just you didn't expect a good job or that not a boy, kind of thing. Um, and they had that attitude like, hey, you're paid to work, so why would I give you
Right.
on truth is they it probably would have made everything better, even though I grew up accepting that and moving on and learning and getting better myself and then teaching other people. I still do have that same problem you mentioned there, Jose, that like giving people props just and it's where you got to really care about them, you know? And that's what I've got to learn, continue to learn and continue to get better at is it's a if you think about what's best for them and they are the type of person that needs complimenting, then be the leader and compliment them,
Right. And
you know? And
it's a muscle,
it
that's for
is.
sure.
It's something you
Yeah.
gotta
N-
work on.
Nate did say that he became a better trainer because he became more patient.
Oh
So
yeah. Well,
I I will say that I am way more patient now than I ever like. Mainly like three things: my sister, having to teach her, right, and then adopting, like, she's younger generation, she's a female, having to do that. But then I had my girls, my daughters. That was it. That's a changing point.
hmm what do you guys think of profile tests? You guys ever do those?
I tried to do
Like
one,
a disc
like,
profile or any of that stuff?
you
I
talking
don't
like
even.
the 16 personality test, the
Yeah, the different personality tests, like
Yeah,
so
baby
strengths
sister
and weaknesses.
made
Yeah.
everyone do it.
well, that was me. I tried, but then
Which
everybody
one was it?
the
Do you remember?
uh
Like,
like I the one that gives you, like, I'm ENTPA or ENTP dash A.
I don't know which one that is.
I don't know what any of it is. I don't even couldn't even tell
There's
you what I
there's
was.
a thing called the disc profile. If you've never done one, it is pretty interesting. I did the one for disc. I did another one and I forget the name of it long time ago, and it gave you a color, like orange, red, green, something. I did that in the army, I think it was, um,
Mm,
or right before the
So
army.
the disc one that I just looked up also has those colors and it says dominance, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness.
consciousness.
Conscious
Conscientiousness. Yeah.
Conscientiousness.
conscientiousness.
Yeah. So D, I was like 98% D, which is the type of kind of a dominant personality that when you the big reveal. I knew a lot of this stuff about myself, but the big reveal was how I will ask someone a question and I expect them to answer. Like my spouse is one of those people. Like it helped our relationship out a bit because quite a bit because I I would like in a argument or a disagreement, I would say my part and she'd just sit there and look at me kind of, and I'm
With
like,
that blank
"Hey,
stare,
you
right?
ain't got you ain't got nothing to say?" Like what? You know,
And that's the thing, like, when you're
I
like
just
I
I
go
made
back
it so much worse.
to, like, just talking to baby sister, right? And I'm like, "Do you understand?" And then just that blank stare, and I'm like, "You need to say yes or no. Like, I need to know if you understand because either need to explain it a different way or you're good." But I should probably already know by the blank stare.
Yeah. So my wife is what came back as a heavy S, which those people are more analytical. Like when they think about something, not analytical by itself, more they need more time to process what you're asking. So like in your scenario there with baby sister Daniel, she may have been thinking, well, do I fully understand or what part of this don't I understand? And thinking through that, and the whole time you're just wanting a yes or no. Like, tell me. And
And they're still trying to process it, right? Like,
yeah, they're still trying to process not
do
only they understood what you said, but what that means to them is different than what it means to you. You think it's a yes or no, but to them, it's not a yes or no. It's a, well, I understand most of it, but not all of it. So how do I tell you that? And they
right,
have to
what part
process
am
it
I
from the,
missing? Like, I need to let you know I'm missing this part to so explain that again when it's already explained it. So yes or no.
yeah. Yeah, and I found that with my wife, and it helped out a lot because I didn't always expect the answer right then, and uh, gave her the power to just say, "Hey, I just need to think for a minute," you know. And a lot of times when you're in the heat of a conversation, it doesn't need to be a fight. I'm not saying it's a bunch of knockdown dragouts at the Stewart house. I'm just saying that when you have a disagreement or any conversation like that understanding how the other person processes was a big piece that we got out of the disc profile.
So the other test that I'm looking at, the 16 personality, looks like there's a couple of variations. The Myers and Briggs test,
Yeah.
um, and then there's way more variations now than there was when I did mine years ago. But I'm sure that it's all based off of the same concept. So I was a debater. Was mine is ENTP dash A, and I was a debater. Whatever. Never really
He
looked too much further into it, other
I
than
believe that because anytime anyone says anything, he's already got something to say.
even if it goes against what I say, though. See, that's the whole thing. Because I'll debate my own. I'll argue what I believe in
Yeah,
just to prove a
Argue with
point.
that's
myself.
why you and Jeremy are like the same, right? Because you don't even care what it's about. You're just trying to argue about something.
It's hey, me and Jeremy got an understanding.
Well, the reason I bring up those tests is some of the coaching programs will have you take them before they'll match you.
Oh,
So just another little tidbit, and I'll leave you with, since we're coming up on our the end of the podcast here, I'll leave you with, if you're more interested in being right than getting it right, then you're the problem. So when you're learning or teaching, if you're more interested in being right than getting whatever it is right, doing it right, doing the right thing, uh, then you might be the problem. And look at yourself. All right, guys. Well,
Nate
thanks
said
everybody for joining us today.
Nate said the other test is Kobe, COBE test.
Yeah, I've heard that one too. Well, if nothing else, go take the test because you'll learn a little bit about yourself. Trust me. They're
Oh,
designed
Colby.
to get full.
Kolbe.
Colby. Well, thanks everybody for the the comments today and joining in with us. We appreciate everybody. New year, getting ready for Tice. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Again, if you're not signed up or you're not registered, not done that yet, go get her done. Come see us in Vegas. Come see us at the Wi-Fi event on Monday. And or you can join us on Facebook. We'll be live as well for that show, so you will be able to communicate with the panelists and communicate with the hosts, and it'll be very a little similar to what we're doing here, but a little more structure because there's a panelist and there's a topic, and we're wanting to hear what
Yeah, a
these
big
ladies
thing
have to say about it.
hearing what they say, right? It's less about us, more about getting them a voice so everyone can hear.
Yeah, and just get some understanding. You might find your next mentor, ladies. Any of our ladies in the audience. So yeah, join us on Facebook if you can't join us there in Vegas. So again, don't forget to like our social medias, our post, comment, give us some feedback. We're at the time of the year where we're starting to come up with some new topics for 26. Got about, I think, 6 or 8 weeks left. And so if you have any topics, send them to us. Email us, get on here, comment next week at the huddle, and let us know what topics you want us to cover, which topics in the past that we've covered that you want us to hit on again, any of that. And we will continue to do our best to bring on experts, or you get the three of us just sitting here chatting about stuff. So I always learn a lot regardless. And looking back on 25 when we did that last week was kind of cool to go back and watch some of our old episodes and like, I kind of,
It's almost like you forget what
yeah,
we talked about sometimes, and then it's like, man, that was a good one. And then
yeah,
like you see some of these ratings on them, right? And it's like, it wasn't 25, but 20, I believe it was 24 when the mental health one that we did was like the biggest one of the year. It had the most minutes listened to of like by far.
yeah,
Hint,
yeah.
hint.
And what's cool about that, guys, is if the you don't have to just closing out the whole mentorship thing. That's proof that you don't necessarily have to, like, some of my mentors don't even know they're my mentors.
Simon
Simon
Sinek.
clearly Daniel's one of Daniel's mentors. He doesn't, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing he doesn't know that he's your mentor.
No,
But you consume his content, you read his books, and you like his style. And that is a mentor right there. So if you know someone online that you really jive with, follow them. Give them, make sure you're tracking their stuff and you're reading their books and you're going to their speaking events. Like engage with them, and you may be surprised how uh, accessible some people really are. So best of luck, everybody, in 2026. Here we go.
here we go.
Yeah,
Let's
Here we
make it a
go.
good one, guys. We're gonna
I'm gonna do a little weird thing too then. Yay!
That's my Donald
Little,
Trump.
I can only, I can only do this shoulder that much, so
My
that's it.
Donald Trump impression. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank
All
you,
right, see
everyone.
you guys.